Why cheat when you can leave the relationship? Because you can't cheat when you're not in a relationship. Duh. Some people get a dopamine hit in their brain from cheating and a sense of comfort and familiarity being in a relationship. They want both. Not proud of it, but I did it once upon a time. Never again. The rush and excitement of a new love is not worth all the guilt you feel, the pain you cause others, and the horrible feeling you get when you realize that you are not a nice person. I recently read a study where they measured the level of regret in women after episodes of high-risk sex. They were looking at hookup culture, but cheating was included. They identified a cycle of hookup, regret, and doing it again. They postulated that the purpose of regret as an emotion was to limit the behavior, and that regret might grow with subsequent episodes. However, what they found was that the level of regret diminished with each subsequent episode, such that after several flings, a woman engaging in high-risk sex has no regret at all. I recognize that hooking up is not exactly the same as cheating, but the study would suggest that once a cheater, always a cheater, is not necessarily true. A person who arrests cheating behavior early might regain mastery over their behavior, i.e., it suggests a marriage can likely be salvaged after an isolated failure, but an ingrained pattern of behavior might be irredeemable. Therefore, the standard advice of kick her to the curb might not be the best option, and a more nuanced assessment would be more appropriate. However, a serial cheater is likely to have a hard time getting control of their compulsion, as their regret diminishes to zero. I'd love to hear opinions from women on this. I would also love to hear women's opinions on this. I asked myself the question when I had a woman who was trying to cheat on her husband with me. I was like, if she's as miserable as she says, why not leave? Had a friend give me this exact explanation and it made a lot of sense. So much security and safety, and they are too lazy to make a change for themselves. I came close to cheating once, and it was because I didn't admit to myself just how unhappy I was in the relationship. I kept telling myself I can make it work. Then I was put in an environment that had several ladies that were happy to talk to me and be around me. That dopamine hit was massive, and I can 100% see how it can just happen. Luckily, I allowed myself to be honest about my feelings and broke up with my ex before I did anything. Do everybody a favor. Always be honest with yourself. That last bit, absolutely words to live by. From my understanding, it's better to have the safety net of the familiar and go do whatever than to end things and risk things not working out. Easier to use someone as a safe space and explore rather than taking the risk alone. I had a jerk of a housemate tell me once it's because it made the breakups easier for him. He'd cheat and make sure his partner found out, and that way they could get all mad at him and never want to speak to him again, and he could just go about his life like nothing happened. There's a certain thrill to sneaking around. Some people get off on the gotta hide whatever feeling they get from cheating. Also, if they leave the relationship, then they lose whatever perks of that relationship. It's hard to survive in the world on a single income. When there are kids and a mortgage involved, it's easier said than done. Not condoning it, but conventional and flawed wisdom often values stability and security over honesty. And sometimes people just get stuck in abusive, one-sided relationships, but their upbringing has taught them to stick through it, no matter how bad it gets. The short answer is that the person cheating is usually and often accurately perceives that they, and often their children and perhaps even their spouse, believe it or not, few cheaters simply don't care about their partner's well-being, would be financially devastated and emotionally traumatized by blowing up their shared household, and since no one cheats with an intent to get caught, this is the way to remedy the missing spark without sacrificing the household stability of everyone else. This is the kind of answer that comes from someone that purely values objects and money and doesn't actually care about anyone else's feelings while simultaneously trying to gaslight someone into believing that they are the least selfish person in the room. Like personally, I abhor betrayal and treachery of any kind. I'm not religious and I only know this because I watched the frickin' Dante's Inferno video game movie with all the different styles and everything, but there is a reason why treachery is the ninth circle of hell. My marriage ended with infidelity. In my experience, it didn't happen all at once. It was a gradual thing. One year we were a little distant, then the distance grew cold, and then we were like two cubicle workers making our life run. But along the way there were exciting milestones that made me think that we were succeeding, that we were happy. A graduate degree, the purchase of a little home together, the decision to try for a baby, the joy a year later when we finally succeeded, new jobs, the birth of our kid, moving to a new city. And there was heartbreak, the death of his father, my battle with postpartum depression, a job loss, loss, illness in the family, my parents divorcing after 40 years of marriage. It was easy to point to those things as the reason we felt so apart. We weren't ready to admit that there was something broken between us too. So I assume when his co-worker was a sparkly new friend and they found themselves working late at the office more and more frequently over time, I'm sure their pull toward one another just grew. But here's the thing. My first marriage was over before he cheated. The question was, as Esther Perel puts it, was whether I would spend my second marriage with the same person. His new partner made it an easy answer for both of us. I don't blame the cheating for my divorce though. It was just a symptom of something already wrong. For me, his affair gave me clarity about the fact that we hadn't been happy for a long time. It's been 7 years since we split, and our daughter is incredible. We co-parent beautifully together. He married his co-worker, they have a 2-year-old together, and she's a great stepmother to my kid. My career has taken off and I'm remarrying later this year. I am so grateful he asked for the separation and for the person I became after my divorce. Cheating isn't always this black and white thing people make it out to be. Time heals all wounds. I know this person clearly had a lot of time to reflect and contextualize how things ended the way they did, and I'm glad that everyone seems to have walked away from the situation to better lives. Still don't condone cheating of any kind though. Cheating is a suck-butt thing to do, and I'm not defending it, but many married people are financially bound together but unhappy. It's the wrong thing to do, but it may go some way toward explaining it in many circumstances. Because people don't cheat because they want a new relationship, they cheat because they want the excitement of a casual relationship and the comfort of a long-term relationship at the same time. If I'm trying to put myself in a cheater's shoes, then the 3 reasons I would assume are 1. Lust. This form of cheating is physical and not much thought put into it. 2. Happiness. This is when someone feels trapped, marriage, kids, history, and just wants a moment to escape and relies on the affair partner to make them happy. 3. Safety net. Cheaters think about it this way. Why would you leave a job without having another job lined up already? It ensures that they won't go through a period of feeling undesired. From my understanding, the reason for cheating and staying in a relationship can be a myriad of reasons. Some people have such low self-esteem that the minute they get any attention from someone else they consider attractive, they have a hard time shutting them down. Others have a very separate idea of a stable love from a committed relationship and attraction from a fling. In these scenarios, the perpetrator still loves their partner, but they fall victim to their personal issues and betray their partner's trust. Others, however, are more narcissistic and view their staying in a relationship despite cheating as a favor to their partner. Others still may come from very traditional backgrounds and feel they can't leave their relationships despite no longer loving them. All of this doesn't even account if there are children in the picture too. Do people really not get this? People don't want to be single or in a new relationship. They want all the perks of their existing relationship plus the thrill of something new. They aren't trying to be fair or considerate or reasonable. They want everything they already have plus more, and they think they'll get away with it so no one will get hurt. Yeah, I pretty much completely agree with everything this person says, but this is already a downer topic, so I'm not going to get too deep into some of this stuff. Emotional immaturity and codependency. It's easier to let go of someone when someone else desires you. Basically, they want out and they've made up their mind about it. You may have no clue yet. They're not interested in working through issues. They're done. So to make things easier for themselves, they cheat. This way, they're getting the attention their low self-esteem needs from outside the relationship and no longer have to regard your feelings. They expect you to be upset when you find out. In fact, that feeds their low self-esteem even more. Your anger, confusion, and disappointment makes it more likely you'll say or do something in retaliation. Any such action on your part makes it easier for them to justify in their own mind that they were right in choosing to leave you. To them, things ended a long time ago, so they don't really see it as cheating. They use cognitive dissonance to cope with how they feel about themselves. Pointing this out to them doesn't help them, and especially doesn't help you. In fact, the bigger of a deal you make it, the more you'll be gaslit. Don't expect fairness or accountability from this person. If it goes public, you're likely screwed, as people who are capable of convincing themselves they're in the right in this kind of situation have no problem making things up in order to preserve their public image. The best thing to do once you become aware of it is nothing. Anything you do in terms of confrontation will only make things worse. Instead, quietly get your affairs in order until you're in the financial position to cut and run. The person you thought you knew is gone. Think of them like an alien who took over your former partner's body. Lament in private. it. Cover your butt while you're exposed. Leave on your timeline, never look back or engage. They are now dead to you. Ultimately, people will respect you more for your maturity and you'll give the ex no grounds to come after you. In fact, they may even implode, but that doesn't matter. How they feel doesn't matter anymore. Winning is getting away cleanly. Because one, divorce is expensive, like really expensive, and most people can't afford rent and mortgage on one salary these days, plus long-term financial plans will be seriously derailed. 2, change is scary for everyone. Clearly the marriage that now sucks was once a great idea, now it's not, but it was a big deal not to be taken lightly. New relationships are extra exciting, and someone who is married has seen the extra exciting relationship turn into something not great. The new thing has no guarantee, and cheating gives the best of both worlds. 3, maybe there are kids involved. Staying together for the kids is an awful idea, but 7 seconds of getting your noodle wet trumps disappointing your kids for life, unless you get caught. 4, people suck. Everyone has done something they shouldn't have and there is a rush to it. Maybe it was a little white lie. Maybe it was something criminal. Either way, it was the easy way out and you were delighted you didn't get caught. The first time it was difficult but rewarding. The next time was less difficult, but still rewarding. Eventually, it's just rewarding. Monkey branching, too afraid to jump without having something to hold on to. People stuck in emotionally abusive relationships often cheat as an escape. Simply breaking up is much easier said than done due to the amount of psychological control that's usually involved. Because you have to keep the main person around in case the side piece doesn't work out. You have attachment issues, you're financially tied to a person. There are many reasons. None of them are good reasons, but people who cheat don't care. Don't mind me, I'm just thinking about King of the Hill and Nancy Hicks Gribble cheating on Dale Gribble with John Redcorn. There's the bit where they're doing the duck boats and Nancy's all like, no wonder I need 2 men in my life. One of them keeps letting me down. Because you don't want to leave the relationship, you just want to have sex with other people. As a retired serial cheater in my teens and early 20s, this is an honest answer. Some people are legit skeezy. Others are genuinely in love with their partner but also have other asexual needs and don't know how to square that circle. I'm definitely against cheating, but I think it's important to challenge the idea that cheaters are all evil, weak, foolish, etc. Cheating is quite common, even among people who maintain otherwise healthy relationships. I think the cultural fantasy we have that 2 people can always fully provide for each other's needs and that true love conquers all is really quite childish, a fairy tale. Certainly it is not 100% impossible for 2 people to be able to meet most of each other's needs. It can happen, but it's incredibly far from universal. I don't think that everyone should be polyamorous, but I do think that many people really need to be and should, and that some people need to be but don't have any of the skills necessary to manage polyamorous relationships. I've never cheated, by the way. Psychotherapist Esther Perel has a lot of really intelligent and useful stuff to say about this topic. She's helped a lot of relationships come back from that place of broken trust. And she is much better than me at explaining why cheating doesn't necessarily mean that the cheater is a bad person or doesn't love their partner, and at explaining why our current cultural views of romance and relationships really set a lot of us up for failure. Which is not to say that all cheaters are loving, good people. They are certainly much more likely to not be than the average. My point is more that it's not a universal thing and we should be looking more deeply into this. So I briefly looked into who this Esther Perel person was because I was interested. And in the brief time I've been looking this person up, I probably can't exactly make that many assumptions about who they are or anything or what their theory is exactly, but I don't particularly like what I'm hearing from them in their talks and whatnot. Maybe it's just my principles getting in the way of me being enlightened by these groundbreaking ideas, and I say that with quotation marks. It all sounds very intelligent in that they've mastered the oratory arts, they're just a very good speaker, they have chosen the perfect words to get their argument across and everything, but at the same time there is just a lack of morality, it seems, and even awareness that cheating, infidelity in itself, is just inherently cruel to do to an individual who isn't aware or casually and callously abusing the relationship and whatnot. God damn, just open up a frickin' dialogue. Also, if you're interested in this author's ideas, go check them out yourself because I'm not slandering them. I'm more just wondering how this person became, and I quote, a national authority on modern relationships? I love my partner and would die for her, but I haven't been asexually attracted for a very long time. I get through sex with her because of the love, but I don't look at her and see someone that I find attractive. I wish I did, and I'm mad at myself for not, but I can't help it. Breaking up has a lot of consequences that people don't want to deal with. If they live with their partner, they'll probably have to move out, which is a headache and expensive. They might depend on their partner financially and can't afford to break up, or they aren't willing to give up their current lifestyle/income. It will be really hard on the kids if they have any, and so they don't want to break up the family. They might lose joint friends and other relationships that they have together, because they will usually side with one or the other. Most divorces are incredibly expensive and taxing for both parties. You could be going in and out of court for months or even years. If you're worried about that last thing, then that's why you should get a prenup. A prenup is a prenuptial agreement that basically says your finances and properties and whatever will be divvied up in this way, and you can both agree that in case of a divorce, no one gets anything. And it's a very good way of sussing out what the person you are marrying's real intentions are and what they value before you get married. What if there is a woman in an abusive relationship with someone she is afraid to leave? If she tells him it's over, he will blow up. If she just sneaks out and leaves and lives on her own, he might find her and still get to her. She has been with this abusive guy so long, she doesn't think she can leave. He tells her how terrible she is, how worthless she is, and that she should be happy that he puts up with her. She might not have an income or money of her own. Some people take care of all the money and only give a bit to their partner when they ask. Let's say this woman meets another man. She meets him at work, she meets him through mutual friends, maybe an old flame looks her up. He is kind to her, and she starts to feel like she might matter a bit. Like maybe she isn't so awful, but she can't just move in with this other guy. So they start a relationship. She is finding a way to escape and a way to rebuild herself. When she has the self-esteem to leave, she also has a way to maybe get some financial and emotional support and protection. Believe it or not, I would honestly say that if you're with an abusive person, then yeah, feel free to cheat on them. If they hit you, if they smack you around, make you feel like crap every day, legitimately abuse you, then yeah, you can do whatever the hell you want. If it means you can somehow get out of that relationship, except kill them, because where does that leave you? My mom tried to leave my dad for years. He was an extremely angry person who was physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially abusive. It was bad. Cops were involved a lot during my childhood, from domestic disputes. They never did anything. He wouldn't let her leave. She tried. It always ended up with her and my siblings and I being hurt by him. He's got 2 kids me or my siblings have never met from affairs. He told my mom it was her fault. One day, she met someone and they fell in love, and she eventually told him about it. It was a really scary time, but he kicked her out for it. I know that was the happiest day of her life because she finally got away. It's been about 10 years. She's still with that person she met, and I've never thought for 1 second my mom was wrong for cheating. There are a few things more hurtful than cheating. Just be honest and say you want out. That's better for everyone. Also, preserves the would-be cheater's honor. Money. The old saying, it's cheaper to keep him/her. No-fault divorce is being outlawed in a few states. It's hard to believe, but it's turning into a thing. Well, it's better to be a poor man's joy than a rich man's toy. Oh, take it from me. You ought to see. Upon that love, there's only misery. And it's better to be a man's whole world than a sometimes girl. Ruby Winter's better, for those of you wondering, and I know most of y'all are just here for the Reddit stories and all that, but come on, I'm trying to give you dinner and a show here most of the time. I think people who cheat have tunnel vision and lack of foresight and insight. A friend of mine is a serial cheater. He's always in some sort of relationship that he completely dive bombs into without any thought, and it ends in chaos every time. I think he does it because he enjoys the thrill of it, and also he's terrified to be single. Possibly mental illness plays a part in this. He is financially ruined from his last divorce because of his cheating, but moved in with his new girl within a month. It's so exhausting to watch from the outside. Cheating can be a misguided attempt to address unhappiness within a relationship. Some individuals may struggle with the emotional difficulty of ending a partnership, fearing confrontation, loneliness, or the upheaval of their lives. Instead, they may seek temporary solace or validation through infidelity. However, cheating undermines trust, hurts both parties involved, and can cause long-term damage. While leaving a relationship requires courage and honesty, it provides an opportunity for personal growth, finding a more compatible partner, and fostering healthier connections in the future. I think most of the time cheating is an emotional thing, not a logical thing. I once knew someone who was in a dying relationship. The relationship was going nowhere and she was losing interest in her boyfriend. The right thing to do would be break up with her boyfriend. Instead, she cheated on him and then she almost immediately confessed to him and begged for forgiveness. At a glance, this would look like a passionate mistake and then instant remorse. But in my time knowing her, she always hated taking responsibility or being blamed for things. I have seen her seriously hurt people, including me, to avoid taking blame or responsibility. I think she subconsciously thought that if she broke up with her boyfriend, he'd be angry and he'd blame her. So she couldn't break up with him. She doesn't want that kind of responsibility. But if instead of breaking up with him, she cheated on him, then he would break up with her. Her cheating makes the breakup A, his responsibility, and B, inevitable. So she can't chicken out of it anymore. Note that this plan does not make 100% sense. It's worse to be blamed for cheating than for breaking up. But when she doesn't want to be blamed for something, she really will hurt people, so they will do things that she doesn't want to take responsibility for. Anyways, her plan backfired. Her boyfriend decided to forgive her and give her another chance. A few days later, she broke up with him. It just sounds really vindictive to me at a certain point. Like, God damn, you're toying with people's emotions here. And by the way, I'm not down for cheating in either way. If anyone's got the impression that I'm like, yeah, boys, or anything like that, no, I just think cheating of any kind with anyone just hurts people, and it sucks so goddamn badly. This one just made me sad to read through. Then again, quite a few of these have made me sad lately. I need a happier topic. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. Put the playlist on in the background to finish listening to all the stories. And if you like Am I the Genius, give Am I the Jerk a shot. Linked in the description below.